Welcome to Pillowtime Lore. This is your soft corner of the night, a place where stories live like warm embers, glowing in the dark. Before we begin, take a moment to slow down. Let your body melt into whatever holds you, your bed, your chair, or that cozy blanket wrapped around your shoulders. Feel how the day begins to drift away, piece by piece, as if it never belonged to you in the first place. Outside your window, the night is calm. The world has quieted down, and the sky has dressed itself in stars. Imagine gentle snowflakes floating in the distance, each one falling without hurry, without noise, just a silent rhythm to remind you that everything is allowed to slow. And here, in this moment, so are you. The glow of a fireplace flickers softly nearby, its warmth wrapping around you like an embrace. The golden light catches on shelves of books, on soft pillows, on every little detail that makes a room feel like home. You breathe in, and the air feels gentle, safe, peaceful. You breathe out, and the weight of today slips further and further away. There is nothing you need to do right now. No expectation, no demand, only rest, only stillness, only the quiet anticipation of a story that will soon take you by the hand and guide you through places that exist just beyond the edge of dreams. So, let the rhythm of your breath carry you deeper into calm. With every inhale, feel your body fill with ease. With every exhale, imagine the clutter of the day dissolving like mist. You are free now, free to wander through the world of tales where time is slower, and every word is a lantern leading you further into comfort. This is Pillowtime Lore, and tonight, a story awaits you. Emma stepped into the oncology ward with a mixture of curiosity and unease, her small suitcase dragging behind her as she scanned the long, bright corridor, the smell of antiseptic sharp in the air, her heart beating faster than she wanted to admit. She tried to keep her expression light, offering a quick smile to the nurse at the reception, her humor a shield against the reality she was facing. The diagnosis still raw in her mind, yet she refused to let it define her. Room 7 was at the end of the hall, a simple space with a single bed, a chair, and a window that looked out onto the city, the sunlight filtering softly through thin curtains. Emma unpacked slowly, pulling out a few sketches she had done over the past weeks, images of places she longed to see, people she missed, moments she wanted to remember. She pinned a few to the wall, brightening the otherwise sterile room with color and life. Her actions, small but rebellious, a silent declaration that illness would not steal her spirit. Dr. James Parker entered shortly after, clipboard in hand. His expression professional but curious. He had seen hundreds of patients, yet something about Emma made him pause. The sharp wit in her greeting, the way she met his eyes without fear. There was a spark he rarely noticed. He made polite conversation, asking about her history and treatment, while Emma answered with a mix of honesty and humor. testing boundaries, challenging his calm, detached demeanor. Neither aware yet that this meeting would mark the beginning of a journey that would change how they both understood life. Emma's sketches were scattered across the small table in room 7, each one a vivid glimpse of a life she remembered or imagined. Images of streets she had walked, cafes she had loved, and quiet afternoons with friends whose faces lingered in her mind. Dr. Parker noticed how carefully she drew each detail, the precision masking the uncertainty she felt inside. He began to realize that her drawings were more than just art. They were a window into her memories and desires, a silent story of a life that illness was trying to take away as days passed. Dr. Parker saw her resist certain treatments, skipping doses or refusing procedures with a polite but firm deflection. He addressed it professionally, asking questions, explaining risks. Yet Emma met every discussion with humor, laughing off worry and tension, her courage both frustrating and intriguing. He found himself questioning the routines he had followed for years without thought, wondering if medicine was only prolonging suffering instead of honoring life, a thought that made him uneasy yet deeply curious. Their conversations grew gradually, more personal, Emma sharing fragments of her past between hospital updates, tales of childhood adventures, failed romances, quiet victories, and little regrets. She revealed her fears in subtle ways, disguised in jokes and teasing remarks. Dr. Parker listened more intently than he expected, feeling the layers of her personality unfold. Her defiance no longer just rebellion, but a shield for a vulnerability he could sense but not fully touch. He began to see the human being behind the diagnosis, realizing that medicine alone could not heal everything. And perhaps understanding her story was as important as treating her illness. Days in the oncology ward passed slowly, the hum of machines and soft footsteps forming a rhythm that seemed endless. Yet, amidst the routine, Emma and Dr. Parker found moments that broke the monotony. A shared smile over a silly comment, a quiet discussion about a book she had brought from home. She spoke with passion about stories that had shaped her, music that had comforted her through lonely nights, and memories of her childhood, small and vivid details that painted a life beyond the hospital walls. He listened, at first professionally, then with genuine curiosity, feeling a pull he had not expected. Dr. Parker began to share fragments of his own life in return, careful at first, revealing childhood dreams, the sacrifices he had made to pursue medicine, and the quiet loneliness that came with the profession, the constant exposure to pain and suffering leaving him isolated in ways he rarely admitted. Emma listened without judgment, her presence strangely comforting, a reflection of the empathy he had been avoiding for years. In her stories and laughter, he saw both courage and vulnerability, a reminder that human connection mattered as much as the treatments he administered, if not more. Their bond grew in quiet ways, unspoken yet profound, a language of subtle gestures, fleeting glances, and shared moments of understanding. Emma became a mirror to Dr. Parker, showing the emotional weight he had long suppressed, and he became someone she could trust in small ways, a companion in the stillness of hospital nights. Both realizing that life was more than schedules and procedures, that healing required presence, attention, and care that went beyond medicine. A delicate understanding forming between them, one that neither words nor rules could define, yet both felt deeply. Emma's quiet rebellion began subtly at first, skipping treatments she felt were unnecessary or too painful, the nurses noticed. Small discrepancies in her charts and whispers started circulating among the staff. Dr. Parker found himself torn. He understood the medical need for strict adherence, yet he could not ignore the determination in Emma's eyes, the way she weighed her choices carefully, challenging him to see beyond protocols. He began questioning what it meant to truly care for a patient. Was it blindly following rules or respecting her autonomy? As he moved through the ward, he started observing other patients more closely, realizing many hid their fears behind polite compliance, smiles that masked panic, nods that concealed doubt. He began to notice the human stories behind the charts, the quiet desperation, the longing for control in a place that demanded surrender. He understood that Emma's choices were not defiance for the sake of it, but a way to reclaim agency in a life suddenly constrained by illness. Her courage, forcing him to reflect on his own detachment. Meanwhile, Emma continued to fill her journal with sketches, short stories, and reflections on life and mortality. The pages capturing her humor, regrets, dreams, and fleeting moments of joy. She wrote of sunsets she wanted to see, conversations she wished she had, the ordinary experiences that now seemed extraordinary. Her words were hauntingly honest, a reminder that life's true meaning often came from presence and awareness rather than longevity. Dr. Parker found himself drawn to the journal, reading passages in quiet moments, feeling the weight of her insight, realizing that healing extended beyond the body and into the heart, mind, and spirit, their fractured routines creating a fragile but profound connection. One quiet evening, as the ward hummed with machines and low conversations, Dr. Parker noticed a small, worn notebook on Emma's table, its cover decorated with colorful sketches and scribbles. Curiosity tugging at him, he opened it carefully, unsure what he might find, and immediately became absorbed. The pages were filled with moments of joy, regrets she had carried quietly, dreams she had whispered only to herself, and desires that felt both fragile and bold, each word revealing a depth that no chart or test could ever capture. As he read, he saw Emma's life outside the hospital in vivid detail. Afternoons spent walking in parks, friendships that had shaped her, mistakes she had made and forgiven herself for, places she longed to see before time ran out. He felt a strange mixture of awe and humility, realizing how little he truly knew about the lives of the people he treated every day. The diary was more than writing. It was a lifeline, a glimpse into the courage it took to keep living fully while facing the inevitable. He turned pages slowly, savoring the honesty in her words, the wit, the heartbreak, the hope. Emma walked in quietly, catching him with the diary open in his hands, her eyes sparkling with mischief and understanding. She laughed softly, not angry or embarrassed, but acknowledging the vulnerability she had shared without words, a silent permission for him to see her truth. In that moment, something shifted in Dr. Parker. He saw not just a patient, but a human being with a rich inner life, fears, and dreams. He realized that healing was not only about medicine, it was about presence, empathy, and connection. The diary became a turning point, guiding him to approach every patient with deeper awareness and respect for the stories they carried within. Emma's energy, though fragile, had a way of drawing people in. The other patients in the ward were cautious at first, quiet and withdrawn, but slowly they began to respond to her warmth and humor. She shared stories of her childhood, small adventures, and favorite books, listening intently to theirs in return, creating a space where laughter and tears could coexist. Alliances formed quietly, unspoken but strong, a network of connection that softened the harsh edges of the hospital. She became a spark of life that reminded everyone that illness could not fully contain the human spirit. Dr. Parker watched this transformation with growing fascination and concern. He noticed how the other patients' moods lifted when Emma was around, how small acts of kindness and conversation could ripple through the ward. He began to feel a responsibility that went beyond medicine, a duty to nurture the emotional ecosystem that surrounded her. His professional detachment started to crumble, replaced by a deeper understanding that healing was intertwined with connection, presence, and empathy. He realized that the ward was more than a place for treatment. It was a place where lives intersected and meaning was created in subtle, human ways. Late at night, when the ward was quiet and most patients slept, Dr. Parker found himself in Emma's room for long conversations discussing life, fear, and the inevitable reality of death. She spoke with honesty and wit, asking questions he had never considered aloud, challenging him to confront his own fears and emotions. He shared fragments of his own loneliness and doubt, finding in her presence a rare sense of understanding and trust. These moments shook the foundation of his carefully maintained professionalism, leaving him changed, aware that medicine alone could not answer the deepest questions, and that friendship, empathy, and courage were as crucial to the heart as treatment was to the body. Emma's health took a sharper turn, each day bringing new weakness and pain, yet she remained resolute, refusing aggressive treatments that she felt would only prolong suffering without improving quality of life. She spoke clearly to Dr. Parker, expressing her desire to face the time she had left with dignity, to live her remaining days on her own terms. Her decision was firm, thoughtful, and deeply human, leaving him torn between his role as a doctor and his respect for her autonomy. He felt the weight of responsibility pressing on him from every direction. Dr. Parker struggled with the hospital's strict protocols, which demanded treatment and intervention at every stage. Yet, in Emma's eyes, he saw a clarity he could not ignore: the courage to choose one's own path, even in the face of fear and uncertainty. Their discussions grew intense, sometimes quiet and reflective, sometimes sharp and challenging. She asked him questions about life, love, and mortality that he had long avoided, forcing him to confront the philosophical side of medicine he had kept at bay. He realized that compassion sometimes meant stepping outside the rules, listening, and truly understanding the patient's desires. In those days, the ward felt heavier, yet richer with meaning. Each conversation a delicate balance between medical guidance and human respect. Emma became both teacher and mirror, showing Dr. Parker the depth of courage it took to accept mortality without fear. He started to see his role not only as a healer of bodies, but as a companion through uncertainty and grief. He found himself reflecting late at night on what it truly meant to care for someone, understanding that the hardest choices often required both intellect and empathy, and that respecting a patient's humanity could be the most profound act of healing. One quiet afternoon, as the sun filtered gently through the ward window, Emma called Dr. Parker into her room, a small, leather-bound manuscript clutched in her hands. She explained that she had been writing a memoir, a collection of stories from her life, capturing her fears, dreams, regrets, and moments of joy. She wanted it published before she died, not for fame or recognition, but to leave something meaningful behind, a legacy that could touch others. She handed the unfinished manuscript to Dr. Parker, her eyes searching his for understanding, trusting him to see the truth of her life. He took the manuscript with trembling hands, flipping through the pages filled with delicate handwriting and sketches. Each story was a window into her soul, her humor, her pain, her quiet victories. He felt a surge of emotion he had long kept buried, reading about her courage, the way she faced illness with honesty and dignity. Her reflections transcended the fear of death. They celebrated life itself. He realized how profoundly human stories could move and transform those who witnessed them, and how Emma, even in her vulnerability, had taught him a lesson in courage and presence. Emma watched him silently, smiling softly, aware of the impact her words had on him. She did not ask for praise or sympathy, only for him to truly understand her. He felt an overwhelming sense of responsibility, not just as her doctor, but as a keeper of her story. He promised silently to honor her wishes, to carry her words forward. The manuscript became more than a collection of memories. It became a bridge between them, a testament to the power of human connection, and a reminder that even in the face of mortality, life could be celebrated, felt, and shared in ways that left a lasting imprint on the heart and mind. The ward was quiet, almost unnaturally still, the soft hum of machines and distant footsteps forming a fragile rhythm. When Dr. Parker noticed Emma struggling in her bed, her breath shallow, her hand gripping the sheets as if holding on to something beyond reach, panic surged through him. mixing with a deep, personal grief he had not fully acknowledged. He called for the nurses, rushing to her side with urgency, every second stretching, the weight of responsibility pressing on him like never before. He fought to stabilize her, his hands steady, yet his heart racing, every instinct as a doctor, and every emotion as a human. Colliding in raw intensity, Emma's eyes met his, a faint smile flickering despite her struggle, her voice barely audible, yet filled with clarity and strength. "Don't just save lives, James, change them," she whispered, and in that instant, the words pierced deeper than any diagnosis or medical protocol. He felt the enormity of what she was asking, not just for himself, but for every life he touched. The gravity of presence, empathy, and meaningful care became painfully real. He pressed on, determined to honor her courage, each heartbeat and breath a fragile testament to the fleeting moments they shared. The struggle, both physical and emotional, the room filled with tension, fear, and a strange, solemn beauty. As her body finally relaxed, the fight ended. Her passing was quiet, yet resonant, leaving an indelible mark on Dr. Parker. He remained by her side, overwhelmed by grief and gratitude. He realized that medicine alone could not define his purpose, that true healing was about connection, understanding, and the willingness to touch lives beyond the body. The night held him in reflection, every memory of Emma vivid, her courage, humor, and wisdom forever shaping the way he would live, work, and care, a profound lesson in mortality, humanity, and the enduring impact of one life on another. The ward felt emptier than ever. The hum of machines and soft night sounds echoing through the hallways. As Dr. Parker sat alone with Emma's memoir in his hands, the pages worn from his repeated readings, tears streaming quietly down his face. He wept, not just for her passing, but for the depth of life she had shown him. Each story reshaping his understanding of what it meant to care, to heal, and to live fully. He realized that medicine alone was never enough, that empathy, presence, and acknowledgement of human dignity were equally vital to the work he did every day. Reading her reflections on fear, hope, regret, and joy, he felt a profound shift within himself. Her courage transcended illness. Her words carried lessons about connection and human fragility. He thought of every patient he had treated mechanically, and suddenly the impact of listening, truly listening, became undeniable. He vowed to honor Emma by bringing awareness, patience, and presence into every interaction, small gestures, attentive ears, and understanding eyes becoming as essential as prescriptions and procedures. As he walked the hospital corridors the next day, the world looked different. The familiar walls and rooms filled with new meaning. He engaged deeply with patients, noticing their expressions, hearing their unspoken fears, acknowledging their individuality beyond diagnoses. He felt the quiet heroism of everyday courage in each patient, each nurse, each caregiver. The ordinary acts of endurance and hope that often went unseen. Dr. Parker reflected on mortality, on compassion, and on the power of a single life to leave lasting impact. He carried Emma's legacy with him, a reminder that the most profound transformations often come from connection, empathy, and the willingness to truly see another human being.